Yeah, so apparently there's Gremlins back from the. We had a really interesting show last week you missed out on, by the way.
I always miss out on the interesting ones. It's like good things only happen when I'm here. Anyway.
So, Geek Week news this week. We're going to try to keep this quick because we have a lot to go through. So we're kicking off with number one, which is, I'm sorry, I make my notes over here. Marvel has decided they're going to start doing Disney comics, but they're called Disney Kingdoms, and it's basically the idea is let's mix Indiana Jones, but with the Disney rides, like if they were real.
You know, I actually think this is a good idea. My biggest problem with Marvel lately has been the fact that there aren't any intro comics for kids anymore. I wouldn't give a 10-year-old most of Marvel comics because I don't want to have to explain incest to them when they're reading about, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. So I'd much rather have something that's actually age appropriate, gets them into the fandom early, and lets them carry over till they reach the age when they're curious about their brothers and sisters because they've watched Game of Thrones.
I think it'll be pretty interesting to see how it plays out. It's a good idea, but if you ever read the novel Kingdom Keepers, then don't bother. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, but comics are a different form. You can do. I think it'll work much better in comics than it will in a novelization. Give it a try, person who has a small child.
He probably will. Next up, this is what I'm most excited about. So we all know Sci-Fi likes their reality series. You like Face Off. I like
do.
Sharknado, which isn't really a reality series, but it's still fun.
If only.
But they've also got a lot of stupid shows.
Yes,
let's face facts here.
Yes, they do.
However, their new reality show looks quite promising.
Naked Vegas?
No, it's even better than that. It's a Muppet-themed reality show where people will have to create Muppets and do things with them for the whole season.
How did I not know about this?
I know. They just announced it. It's freaking awesome.
All right, I'm ready.
I know.
I want to be a Muppet. Can I have a Muppet of me that I'm talking to because I'm that narcissistic?
Yeah, so I think it'll be kind of like Face Off where they'll have to make Muppets in situations and things like that. I think. That's what I kind of hope.
I hope that's what they're going to do, because the problem with most of the other reality shows on Sci-Fi is they try and set them up as traditional reality shows where you're competing. The thing that makes Face Off work is the fact that they are technically competing, but what they're really doing is they're showing off their skills. They actually really help each other out a ton. And at the end of it, you're like, wow, you made something amazing. Mm-hmm. So if you're making Muppets and then putting them through an act, that has the best potential I think I've seen on a Sci-Fi show yet.
I'm quite excited about that one.
I'm ready.
So next, this is what really made me mad this week. Apple won a patent lawsuit for multi-touch. Now, for those who don't know, when you go to your phone, if you swave your finger because you're not perfect, you can't draw straight lines, that's multi-touch. So Apple likes to take everyone to court over anything and everything. Well, they won their multi-touch lawsuit, which means they're the only ones, the iPhones are the only ones where you can kind of swipe at an angle and do something. No, the rest of us are probably going to have to learn to do straight lines soon enough. I'm like, what a douchebag move, I'm sorry. That is an incredibly douchebag move.
I completely agree. Especially since, I hate to say, the reason I think they're this desperate for it is other phones have caught up and are kind of getting a little better than the iPhone at this point. I'm ready to bail on them. I would really much rather have a phone that can do more and cost me less.
Yeah, that's what we have.
Yeah.
They're awesome. Android, we love you.
Wait until my contract expires.
All right, now, this one kind of came out of left field. They've announced a brand new Aliens game. Now, after the FUBAR that was Aliens Colonial Marines, which we happen to like, but the world as a whole despises.
For good reasons, you have to admit.
It's not that bad of a game, but we're digressing. They announced a new one. It's called Alien Infestation, and apparently, in a bizarre twist, it involves Ripley's daughter.
Yeah, I read about that, actually, where they're going to go back and kind of mine her backstory during that 60 years when she was asleep.
Yeah, so there'll be one alien. They said there's only going to be one alien. It's going to be very survival horrors, which I'm all down for. I don't know about you, but I think a survival horror type aliens game would just rock.
And I think that having only one alien and then having an actual story to focus on will work well, specifically because, come on, with the previous Aliens game, it was just kind of crawling with them, and they didn't do anything useful, and sometimes you'd get the aliens just didn't care about you. They would get distracted by some little speck of dust in the corner and go do their alien thing.
It wasn't perfect, but it was still fun. So I'm going to be quite interested to see how this plays out.
You know what the boss level will be.
All right, and the last bit of Geek Week news. So Samsung released their Galaxy Watch. But it's kind of crappy. It doesn't really do anything. People are like, what are you doing? Well, not to be outdone, Google has announced theirs, which actually is pretty much exactly like a risk communicator should be.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing with all of those. I grew up seeing the whole TV watch thing, but even the ads make me feel like, how old are these people? Have you got people that actually read Dick Tracy in the comic when it was new in the back of the newspaper doing it? It doesn't make any sense that they think this is something people actually want. What we're actually looking for in real life are bigger screens on our phone, like a kind of halfway between phone and tablet sort of thing, because we're doing so much on it. I don't want to, my wrist is tiny. I don't want to have to limit all my navigation to something that size. Plus, who wears a watch? Who under 50 still wears a watch? Put your hands down, people in this room. Put your hands down.
All right, so
He's a 50-year-old man at heart anyway.
I'm looking forward to it because
You're
I
a
think
50-year-old man at
I
heart?
want to know how it's gonna interact with the Google Glass. I really think it'll just be awesome. And who doesn't want to go like this and talk to their watch?
The
Come
novelty
on,
will
people!
wear off in 5 minutes.
I bet
Everyone
you it'll be longer
does
than
it for
5
10
minutes.
minutes and then 10. I'm giving you that much.
No, I think you're wrong.